We have done a lot of gaming themed setups on this channel based on a variety of big name titles, and sometimes we've gotten a little over the top, a little excessive with how we show some of them off, but one game that I know you guys love and want to see more stuff of is Fortnite. And we've done a couple different Fortnite themed things in the past, but something we haven't really touched that I think is a really big missing piece is customizing our very own Fortnite themed Switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize our Switch, the Joy-Cons, and the dock. We're going to take a look at a couple different accessories as well to round out the whole thing so that we have a setup that's not only celebrating a love of Fortnite, but also giving you the best functional experience playing it as well. First things first, we want to customize our Switch and dock for the color schemes we want to celebrate the game. And there's a couple different ways you can go about this, depending on skill level, price, that kind of thing. Some of the pricier or riskier options include doing things like paint jobs, but you really want to make sure you find someone you trust to do that, or even shell exchanges. I think a good safe option for most people, though, is a skin. So we actually went with skins from D-Brand. They make a whole bunch of different ones that are safe to use on the Switch. And when thinking about colors I associate with Fortnite, the main ones that really pop in my head are blue, purple, and sometimes yellow. Fortnite doesn't really have a singular color they use all the time because it kind of changes with all the seasons, but those are the ones that I feel kind of recur the most. So we went for a blue skin on the Switch itself. This was actually my first time applying a D-Brand skin to a Switch itself, and I was a little intimidated at first. I was probably a little overly cautious when applying it, but it really isn't that bad at all. I followed the instructions step by step, and it was pretty easy. You just have to apply the kickstand and little flap right here for the game card first, then you do the back of the Switch, and that's the only one that can get a little weird because you have to like carefully wrap it around the screw holes and stuff. And then the front is actually really easy because you have this like fake cover that goes over the screen, so it's just one solid piece at first, and then it just comes off after you get it all sealed around the edges. So it actually turned out looking really nice. Now, as for the Joy-Cons, like I said, other colors I really heavily associate with the series as the seasons have gone by are purple and yellow. I didn't really like the look of doing the yellow and purple together as one unit, but doing either of them simultaneously looks really nice, so I'm leaning towards double purple right now, though. As for the dock, I wanted to do things a little bit differently, but still maintain a common theme, so I kept the same blue for the front of it, but then we went for a white trim instead of the purple or yellow. In this case, I really like the way it breaks up on the front. I will say too that during the whole D-Brand skin application thing, the only part that did knock me a little bit was doing the side and top of the dock, because you have to very carefully apply this thing and wrap it all the way around without accidentally getting off track. So I still did it. I think it turned out great, but yeah, that's the one to be careful on, I think, out of all of this. Now, another reason why I went for the white on this is because I think it's going to work really well with the next step we're going to take for customizing these a little further, because I think the color schemes are great to kind of get the base idea across, but as of right now, if you just show this to someone, they're not going to think Fortnite, they're going to think blue and purple. So we need to start adding a new symbol, something that replaces the Switch logo that just screams Fortnite, and that's where vinyl stickers come in. Now, for this idea, we picked up a lot of different vinyl stickers that are Fortnite themed. These are not hard to find at all. You can even just go on Amazon and find a whole bunch of different ones. But while shopping for them and picking a bunch up, we realized that at least for the Switch itself, you gotta be really careful what size sticker you get, because you can be a little deceived by how much room you have to work with. Because yeah, if you just go by the size of the Switch, there's quite a bit here, but if you want something that's gonna be centered and look really good on it, you gotta be wary of the fact that you can't use the bottom here because of the vents, and the kickstand really messes stuff up for horizontal space, because you could really only use this area here if you want it centered. So the two options we have that I think are gonna work best are the actual Fortnite logo with the city, which looks good, but I think it's a little too off-center. It's just a little too wide for our space. So instead, I want to go with dude hang gliding in. I think this really just screams Fortnite right away. I mean, it's the way every single match starts. So we're gonna have this set up and just angle it a little bit so it's gonna fit around all these little things in the way. So with that picked out for the Switch, we gotta look at what we wanna do for the dock. And there's a couple different ways we could approach this. We have a few stickers that are just tall enough and the right size they can fit on either side of the Switch logo. For instance, we can go with the pinata right here. But actually the idea that ended up being really sold to me is taking this logo that we almost put on the Switch and putting it right on the front. We're gonna cover up the Switch words and have it just eclipse the Switch logo a little bit. It almost has this like Disney castle vibe I really dig. I think it's gonna look really cool. So let's go ahead and get these attached right now to our dock and Switch. So we've got our Switch and our Switch dock all set up. Next, let's take a look at some accessories to really round out this whole setup to really make it a Fortnite Switch. When it comes to improving your game, the main two things to look at is how you're controlling it and how you're listening to it. Now for control, the Joy-Cons look nice and all. I think the purple is a great aesthetic, but let's face it, if you're not playing in handheld, there's better ways to control the game, especially docked. So you want to go with the Switch Pro controller. And a way to improve this is with thumb grips. Now there are some branded ones for Fortnite. I mean, they're not officially Fortnite, but they're Battle Royale ones that look like they definitely fit from Control Freak. They don't actually make them for the Switch Pro controller, but turns out the PS4 ones fit it perfectly fine. Now this does give you a raised surface, which you might not like for both sticks. So another great option they have is the ones they actually recommend for Fortnite specifically. These are the CQC Combat ones. They don't have quite the same height on them, but this is designed for Switch specifically. It grips nice and tight and makes it a lot better for your thumb. On the other hand, if you're feeling a little more morally ambiguous about what counts as cheating, there is also a keyboard and mouse that now works on the Switch as well, which is definitely useful for Fortnite. I'll have that link down below along with all this other stuff, and we actually did a dedicated video covering it, which I've linked at the end of this one. Now, as for audio, there are a lot of awesome gaming headsets out there, but they aren't all available for the Switch normally because the Switch lacks Bluetooth compatibility. But there's a couple ways to fix this, and one of the latest ones that's really cool, and you can look forward to a dedicated video on this soon, is the Genki adapter. This attaches to the bottom of your Switch, so in handheld mode, you're able to use it to use your favorite pair of Bluetooth gaming headphones. It also has an adapter that connects to the dock of the Switch, so you can use it for dock mode as well. Oh, we also have this cool light up thing I found. It doesn't really do anything to improve your game, I just think it looks pretty.